Hello there, Steve here in Sydney of the Lay Gnosis website, truebluehealer.com, where in just 20 minutes you can get takeaway repeating evidence of your divine spark activation. It will repeat endlessly for the rest of your life, and you'll have some vivid messaging dreams in about a week, and further down the track you'll get an internal mentoring voice. It's a wonderful experience. It's something like a sleigh ride through a magic forest. That's about the best way to describe it. It's full of wonderful rabbit hole surprises, and all of them good. So, having said that, I'll get on to the main subject of today. I want to talk about the state of the world as it is right now. If you took a snapshot, I'd just like to say I'm disappointed that Geert Wilders didn't get further in the Dutch election. And in reply to that, I would say the shock of Donald Trump winning was a signal to the elites that they weren't cheating hard enough in the American election. And I would say the elites have redoubled their efforts to cheat in elections. And I would suspect democratic voting may not be the solution to the wholesale genocide of the European people by importing basically barbarians from all over the world. I put it very crudely and cruelly, don't I? But I'm using those words with great care compared to Western civilized people. The people being brought in are unemployable, low IQ'd, don't have the IQ to learn how to use toilets, for goodness sake. They are unteachable, unemployable, and their children and grandchildren will be the same. An ever-increasing burden on the German taxpayer, in the Merkel's case, French taxpayer, etc. I feel very strongly about this, and I think you should too. If you listen to the latest video by Blackpigeons Speaks, he's always a good listen. He's found an institute that's totally debunked the excuse for the destruction of the Western races. That is the mass importation of other people, other genetic materials from the uncivilized barbarian world. It's complete rubbish. A think tank was put together, some eminent people came out saying a surprise outcome was that automation would protect the lowering birth rate population of Europe. Automation would protect them because it's increasing faster, and that the bringing in people who can't use toilets, who are utterly unteachable and unemployable, is not a solution. It's not going to work. That money can be stabilised. Money availability will be stabilised by ever-advancing automation in the Western world. And that's what this think tank came out with. I'll put the name of the think tank and a link to it on the screen here right now. I'll get it off the Blackpigeon Speaks video. My earlier remark about extra cheating will be the norm for Western elections was deliberately said in light of the information that in the Blackpigeon video he reveals that Angela Merkel wants to put now offices in sub-Saharan Africa, German offices, asking people to come to Europe with basically free plane flights, free house when you get to Germany, free income for the rest of your life, and you can produce as many low IQ children as you like. And your grandchildren will be looked after too with their low IQs. Very clearly, it's all going to be paid for by the German taxpayer, and this will be a crushing financial burden. So this is something that to me suggests she's no longer afraid of elections. Such an outrageous plan to go to the lowest patch of IQ'd people in the world, sub-Saharan Africa, where the average IQ is 63, if you look at the international comparison tables. Average IQ of 63, they're useless to Europe. They're a drag on the economy of every European country. So she's got no fear of elections whatsoever. So they must have increased their cheating must have at least doubled it or something, so that election outcomes don't really matter. They're always going to fall in the internationalists' favour. I'm not certain that excessively tolerant Western democracy can actually deal with the situation where its own leaders want to destroy every democratic nation. They're clearly doing this. Angela Merkel's obviously got that in mind, wanting to bring in unteachable, unemployable people from a pool of them in sub-Saharan Africa. So I don't think democracy can stand that. I don't think it can deal with that situation and come out pleasantly without conflict. I don't think it's going to happen. So what could be done? With Donald Trump being blocked at every move, he's now got a Hawaiian judge overturning his latest executive order that was crafted by 20 of the finest lawyers available. I'm just wondering whether Europe can be saved from itself, or can the common people, the raw material of the Western world, be saved from their barbarian elites who are basically out to genocide them. I'm wondering whether it will come to a situation where Donald Trump may have to rescue Europe. And I suspect that could easily be done. This is a thought experiment. If you can think up a better solution to this, let me know. I'd like to hear it. Or a more creative or a kinder, more loving solution. But I think America may have to come to the rescue of Europe yet again. This will be about the third time. And occupy Brussels and Strasbourg, the two EU capitals. I'll remind you, a thing most people don't know is that Germany is still an occupied nation. Okay, it's actually administered by George Soros and a handful of rich Jewish trillionaires in Wall Street. So Angela Merkel is an employee. She takes orders from Wall Street. Okay, so Germany is a vassal state. It's occupied by American troops. So they're already there. They could occupy Strasbourg. They could occupy Brussels very quickly. And I think something like that may be necessary. That's just a thought experiment. Tell me if you think that's possible. And you could form another EU and say, well, if you want to be in the EU, by all means stay, but you got your freedom to leave. The whole Western elites, which are all Marxist infiltrated, need to be decapitated and people start all over again with new governments all around the Western world for the Western world configuration to survive. So this is a thought experiment, and I'm just playing with history here. I'd love to hear what you think below. If you want to call me Marxist expletives, racist, xenophobe, etc., blah, 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 you'll be deleted by the automatic troll detector. I'm hoping you'll be more intelligent than that and come up with reasons why my idea wouldn't work or couldn't work or shouldn't work. Okay? We may have to do some very ugly things in our future to keep the Western world going, which is the saviour of the whole planet. Europeans invented everything. Do remember that. Every major invention you can think of was invented by Western European people, and nobody else. Okay, so we're likely to get a lot more goodies out of the Western world if you preserve it. So the hope for the whole globe, the whole world, is really in the Western world's ingenuity and innovation skills. By contrast, look at the Middle Eastern people who've had trillions of dollars fall in their lap, and they haven't even built roads between their capital cities in different Arab nations. They don't have a space program. They do not make medical breakthroughs. Their average IQ in Saudi Arabia is just 83. They don't produce even nails and screws, their academics and intellectuals say in Middle Eastern television videos. They can't produce nails and screws. They can't produce a bar of chocolate, for goodness sake. So with all their trillions of dollars, it doesn't make much sense. Value for money, we've got nothing out of the Middle East except hardship and misery, which is now falling on Europe in an ever-growing tsunami organised by its barbarian elites. I'm still seeing in the street surprises. I'm getting buttonholed. It happened this morning in a Sydney supermarket where a senior fellow very pleasantly sort of buttonholed me, and he wanted to tell me of his concern about Marxism infiltrating our schools, teaching them political correctness and political activism, while their grades are falling. Their numeracy and literacy grades are falling continuously the more politics they learn. And he was expressing concern. He was in his 70s, and he's a classic example of the retired people who have got a lot of time to spend on the internet studying international political matters and watching trends and things. So that's not the first time. I've heard people on expensive cell phone conversations in McDonald's loudly criticising Obama's obsession with transgender toilets, the most powerful man in the world. I overheard this. Someone said, most powerful man in the world, rabbiting on and on and on about transgender toilets, for Christ's sake. That's what I heard on a telephone in the Sydney McDonald's a few weeks ago. So ordinary people, the conservative people, the great silent majority, that's the people who are either got their head down working or got their head down enjoying themselves, and they just hope that politicians are doing the best thing by them because they're voted in to do that, aren't they? And they're slowly waking up to the fact that politicians are really maintaining a Marxist invasion of Western culture, and it's very much to our detriment. So I'm hearing that at street level in Sydney. Strangers are talking to me about this. It happened to me just this morning. In our daily newspapers in Sydney, they're still going on about Punchbowl High School, where they got rid of a headmaster, a principal, because he recently converted to Islam. He's a white man, a European, converted to Islam and wanted to basically turn his school into a madrasa, where he made speeches advocating, referring to the police as pigs, and telling all his many Muslim students that they shouldn't cooperate with the police. They should even, don't even make eye contact with them. Don't respond to them if they speak to you. That sort of thing. And there's a lot of groupism going on, is today's complaints in the Daily Telegraph. A lot of groupism and gangsterism going on, where people are being forced to read the Koran, and I know they don't understand it because it's not explained to them correctly by Islamic fanatics. And an interesting thing that one parent did say in today's Daily Telegraph was that the groupism at school is reflected in the groupism, the gangsterism of their parents, because groups of parents have turned up saying that beheading people is good, it's the right thing to do, it's in the Holy Koran. Yeah, Muslim students have gone to Punchbowl High School and advocated this to anyone they can talk to. So that's greatly offending people sending their kids to school, wanting them to be taught the 3 R's, reading, writing and arithmetic. And all this political indoctrination of young people is not something they signed up for when they sent Junior to the local high school. So that's of growing concern. And to me it shows one thing. There's some cultures incompatible with all other cultures. It's a genetic problem. It's ultimately not religious, it's genetic. It's all to do about low IQ and natural criminal tendency that comes with low IQ. We're stuck with that, and the Middle Eastern peoples that we are bringing into the Western world just seem to have low IQs and a higher criminal rate. I've talked about this in a previous video, I think. There's one ethnic group from the Middle East here. They are 1% of the Australian population, but they are 30% of our jail population, right? So their crime rate's about 30 times higher than ours, and we still import large numbers of them. At the moment they're in a small number, but they have a higher birth rate than we do, and you can guess the kind of people I'm talking about. And this is going on all over the Western world. I've previously said in this video, and I'm inviting your opinions to contradict or supplement mine, that it seems that democracy is failing in its attempt to coexist with another culture brought in by the barbarian elites. Okay, we've got two lots of barbarians at our throats, basically. And how does a nice, tolerant democracy deal with this? Well, it can't. It's that simple. When laws are not enforced, when laws are selectively enforced, it happens all over the EU. A major breakthrough was made by Donald Trump, wasn't it, just the other day, when the politician who first lied to him, a very prominent politician, said crime had actually gone down since immigration began, and now she's admitted it's finally, after about a week later, oh, it's actually gone up, yeah. I was lying to Donald Trump on the international media circuit there. Turns out Donald Trump was basically right. The destruction of Sweden is well underway, and possibly the most tolerant country in the world is Sweden, and it's ensuring their demise. But since that admission by one Swedish politician, it's lending credibility to some whistleblowers and a few other people who are game enough to stand up, because you can lose your job if you dare say anything criticising immigration. It's a sacred cow in Sweden. It's the sacred cow that's worshipped by every Swedish person who thinks they're a moral superpower, which is an absurd fantasy they live in. I really do think they need a bit of the old Viking spirit. But it seems to have been bred out of Sweden. I don't know where it's gone.